Hello, welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be doing an unboxing or overview video of a game that seems to fit this channel fairly well. That's going to be Roll Camera. This is going to be a dice allocation cooperative game where you're trying your best to solve the puzzle of how to produce, well, a good film. Or at least meet up to the guidelines of the script and the objectives that you have, to make something that's slightly above mediocre. That being said, I have played this game already. I am familiar enough with the components, and like any of our unboxing videos, I'm going to do my best to walk you through exactly what this game is as we pull pieces out. So, even though I'm opening it up, it's not the first time I've interacted with it. And that's for a very good reason. You see, we're currently working to cover the brand new Kickstarter, which, ignore the whole thing that I said about making the perfect movie. Instead, you just need to make a successful movie. It doesn't have to have all the flashy, high-quality production things, and it probably will be a little glitchy with some of the, themes that you layer on top, but the B-movie expansion is going to add in new characters, new custom abilities, new scene objectives, a third element of the script that you must follow, new storyboards that you're trying to accomplish, and a whole another set of problems. I'll have a preview video and some gameplay for these titles over the course of the next few weeks, but to start with, let's go ahead and start digging into exactly what Roll Camera is, so that we can introduce you properly to the expansion at a later point. Roll Camera, the filmmaking board game by Malachi Ray Rempin. This is going to be published by Keen Bean. Alright, now just very carefully open up the scene. And pull off these components. Now, I saw one. Yes. So if this has a clapper. If you don't know exactly what this is used for when it comes to movie productions, we do it with our hands when we're filming here at Quackalope. This is called a clapper. You'll write the scene and the objective and whatever it is at the front of that piece, and then you smack it down, even though this one doesn't clap as well as I would like. This basically gives you an audio spike and a visual cue of something that is very easy to see on all your cameras. You find a location where everything's matched up, and you make a really loud bang. That allows whoever is editing or cutting to get all of your cameras adjusted accordingly. Like this top camera here, this front camera here, and now I'm perfectly ready to edit. So let's go ahead and start pulling all of this stuff out. And that's going to be it. That's the entirety of your unboxing. This is designed to just slide directly in and out. We have the rulebook on the top. Don't worry, I will find some flavor text here in just a bit. And we're going to start pulling our different scenes. Now, the cool thing about this game is that you're going to be setting up a movie studio, and studios tend to use and reuse and reposition as much of their stuff and equipment as possible. And so we have all of these random set pieces, from locations where cameras can be operated to different types of locations where you might be filming, all the way up to bonuses, production time, and locations where actors and other people have to be placed. You also have these things. We won't talk about those as much. Those are the block symbols, right? So as you're working together as a team, you're going to have problems arise, and those problems might just block locations where you're going to be placing your dice. So the core functionality of the game, first off, how cool is this in the back? Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Story Builder. Welcome to the Roll Camera. If you're writing your own film script, you can use this side of the board to brainstorm story structures. Here you'll find the classic 3-act structure, including most of the story beats and turning points you'll find in the majority of films, movies, and other long-form stories today. Use the scene cards from Roll Camera or your own note cards. Just remember, you don't have to follow the rules. You only have to keep the audience interested from beginning to end. How you do that is your job as the storyteller to figure out. So look at the beats. Act 1. Once upon a time there was a tiny little pig who loved flowers and enjoyed spending time in his garden. And every day He'd leave his house at sunrise and say, "Hello, sunrise, it's very nice to see you today." And he'd turn towards the trees and the clouds and the sky, and he'd say, "Hello, trees and cloud and sky, it's very nice to see you today." But then one day, the pig did not wake up for sunrise. And as he stepped out, there was no clouds in the sky, there was no sun to see, there were no flowers bloomed in the garden, no petals to be found. It was dark. He'd overslept. He'd woken up in the twilight, moments after the sun had disappeared and the flowers had closed, and the sky was open and bright. This was a problem, because you see, the pig, well, he kept a very strict schedule. He'd never once seen the dark, and before him bloomed a sky of stars, like flowers spreading their wings to a galaxy far beyond. And that pig said to himself that day, well, he said to himself he never again would see the sunrise, because he was destined for the big flowers in the sky. So our hero set out. Our hero set out to journey to those stars, to discover what those floating big globules of roses and tulips were. Right away, there was trouble. You see, spacefaring and, well, technology is not a thing that pigs are very used to. And he did like to sleep during the day now, so building his spacecraft in the middle of the night was something that he'd never encountered before. He had to hook up solar panels and giant light bulbs and start a whole manufacturing process for synthetic material, which took a lot of internet research. But luckily, our hero met a small little hedgehog named Sue. Now, Sue was a very discerning hedgehog. She knew exactly what our pig was doing. She'd enjoyed ruffling through and snuffling through his flower garden from time to time. And so, when Sue met our pig, our friendly flower-loving pig, Sue knew he was destined for the stars. So she helped our hero by showing him how to knit, how to stitch together the fabric of the universe. You see, Sue was not only a loving grandmother who knitted sweaters for all her little hedgehog babies, which is not a small task considering all the pincushions and pricks, and each one's customized, so you have to be very specific and delicate when you knit for hedgehog babies. But she was also a chemist. And because of that, our pig made great strides on his adventure. He did. He started weaving together the biology, the chemistry that was needed in order to concoct the potion to launch himself to the sky, and his rocket started forming itself. But then suddenly, the worst possible thing happened. You see, as the summer drifted to fall, and the rainy seasons came and went, our pig found that the night grew longer. But, while that was lovely, the days he had to work grew shorter and shorter. We won't continue going through this. If you're still watching at this point, kudos to you. This is very cool, but what we're actually paying attention to is going to be the board here. Now, you're going to be cooperatively working together to build out and solve your storyboard elements here, doing your very best to match up with the script and add them over here in the timeline. The objective of the game is to work as a team to bring your starting marker all the way up here to a great classic film, or the whole way down to so bad it's good. Now, there's going to be a lot of other things that are happening, from terrible problems that you have to solve, production set issues that you might run into, a scene here where you're placing the set pieces that I was talking about, doing your very best to position and, well, set up everything that you're filming, and locations. All these blue spots are dice allocation positions where you could place down your little workers and take actions together as a team. This will continue until you either run out of money, run out of time, or complete your set of rows and determine if you're the winner. We also have this awesome little roll of film here. So let's go ahead and pop this open. So every player is going to have their custom player character, like the production designer, the director, the cinematographer, the producer, and the star. Oh, and also the editor. Now, all of these are going to have their own special player powers with the blue dice allocation spots, 2 of which are custom, 1 of which is just a refresh, which allows you to recycle and reset up either your recycle and reset up your idea cards. Now, each of these are also going to have their player privilege. And you can ignore these if you want, but I, of course, would choose not to. Like, if I was playing as the producer, you may ration any snacks or drinks for players during the game, however you see fit. Great! I get everything. Well, except for George. George gets a single cookie. Or the cinematographer, you may adjust the lighting in the room however you wish. Which I think soft, dim, romantic lighting while you're playing a board game is the preferred model. So, you'll be playing as these characters, doing your very best to fill out the production set dice onto the track, and, like I said, complete your story card. Let's go ahead and pop these dice open. By the way, the production on this is just absolutely fantastic. So you'll be rolling your dice every turn, getting a whole sequence of different types. Like, I just got a lot of art, 2 wilds, and some cameras. I can slot these into various positions, like wilds up here to resolve one of the problems we're facing, some cameras down here, maybe an artist over on that side, all the while trying to match up with our storyboard. We have our budget and our schedule with our actions that we take here on the front side, which is actually really nice. And by the way, one of the coolest things, one of the things I wish other people would steal from this design is back here, you can set the difficulty of the game you're playing based on player count or just how difficult you want it to be by spinning these dials. They'll start you right at the right point. This is what we're beginning with if we want to play a hard/normal game, depending on how many people we're playing with. And so this sets us up to then begin spending our resources, slowly running out of time, running out of money, and pressing endgame. Such a cool system there. I really, really think some other games should steal or utilize that design element. Let's go ahead and pop these cards and take a look at some of these other cards. So these are going to be the cards that are running the core of the game. You're going to have a few different types of cards. To start with, you're going to have your various scenes. So these storyboard cards are going to be played face up to start with, and this is what your dice need to match in order to accomplish. So for instance, we need audio with an actor tied to a camera, and then a piece of art or makeup or set design. As you're completing these, they'll flip over here and they'll pop into your scene location, showing the progress and the story that you're telling. At a certain point, you'll have all of these filled out. You'll move the dial accordingly as you accomplish ones that have little stars on them, and you'll see if you made a winning movie or not. Now, each of these locations also are tied to a value system because it costs money to produce, or costs time, or costs some mixture of the two. We also have a whole host of problem cards. For instance, the sound person forgot to press record. As a filmmaker, someone who's worked in this industry for way too long, that hurts maybe a little bit too much. We have deadly wasps built a nest in one of the editing rooms, or the actors practiced screaming too much and lost their voices. Okay. These will come with issues that you need to resolve. They'll rotate down this top stack here, and they'll create consequences for everyone sitting around the game. We have 2 more stacks of cards here, and then we can go ahead and swing into a little bit on what you're getting with the B-Movie expansion. So, the other cards we have here are going to be, looks like some reference cards, I believe. Idea cards, which are very important. Idea cards are going to be things that everyone cooperatively works together. When you take the play a idea action, everyone's going to toss down an idea card so that there's 3 at the table. You'll then flip and do your very best to resolve one of those. One will be discarded, one will be resolved, and one will be slotted down here where you could pay extra in order to accomplish it. For instance, idea. In a panic, start assigning work to random people. Reroll any number of the unused up dice up to 5 times each. I'm just going to make the art director assign this, the superintendent's going to go there. Look, I know you just brought coffee to us, you're holding the microphone, you're in charge now. We have idea. Don't use any electricity today. Perfect, we wanted candle lighting anyway, and we've got that old film camera in the back that's manually operated. If you haven't shot a scene this turn, gain $2. Well, we're working on a budget. You cannot shoot any scenes this turn. That makes sense. The power's off and that old film camera is not working very well. Anyway, idea. Bet some of your budget at the horse races. Perfect. Why not? Flip an unused tile like a coin 3 times. If at least 2 are grid side up, gain $4. Otherwise, lose 2. Oh. Bounced off me. I don't know if that counts or not. We'll call it. We'll say it counts. I gained $4. So these are going to be really cool ideas, and you're only going to be able to resolve one of them at a time, which creates a bit of an issue because everyone's cooperatively handing in their best ideas and saying, oh, no. I understand you want to go bet money at the horse race, but we really should just turn off the power for a day. It's a sure bet. $2. It's not 4, though. Not 4. The last section we're going to have here is going to be, the 2 last sections. We're going to have these, which escalate the scale of your game. These are going to be different studios that you could film from, and they just create challenges. For instance, Pot of Gold. Regardless of what the script card says, the final arrangement of the scenes in the editing room, must follow the order of colors in the color spectrum starting anywhere. Brutal. And then finally, we have our script. Our script is going to say, like, Grandma Murder, or Grandma Gin and Tonic, or Clown Fighting, Seaside Smooches. This is going to create the title of our story, and naturally, actually both of those are tops and bottoms. Let me try this again. Like Heartache, Mind-Blowing Heartache, or Very Attractive Seaside Smooches, or one more, Hooray for Morons. These are going to create the scripts that we're trying to match, and if we're able to complete various different types of cards in our puzzle here, we'll gain bonuses and bonus stars for the type of script we've followed, if we've kept on script enough. So that's going to be the game. Genuinely, this is such a weird thematic game that I underwrote to start with, because it's based on something I'm a little bit too close to, right? A game based on your career, you wonder if they're going to be able to do it justice. And this has all the charm of, like, Pixar and Netflix and Disney kind of smashed together. It's lovely and creative and makes me want to go watch some of my favorite films. And shoot, makes me want to write a story about a sheep and a pig and a hedgehog. I know, we didn't get to the sheep, but he was involved only in the second half of the film. He actually came in and saved the day. He was an astronaut already and knew how to fly the vessel. We'll get into that later. So, we're covering this, unboxing this, showcasing this, because the B-Movie expansion is on its way out. The very first time I sat down to test out this game, it was with a friend who already had a copy, and I was really, really charmed by it. So, I had to pick up my own copy, and I made sure that we were on the list to go ahead and cover this expansion. This expansion is going to introduce a variety of things, from more of your player character cards, more problems that you have to face and solve, more ideas that will provide immaculate solutions to you, and a few other action locations that you just sort of place down on the board. Those are going to allow you to solve the third part of the script. That's going to be the part that needs a theme. If we're making a good B-movie, we have to add in some generic tropes, from a cowboy western sci-fi to a haunted horror picture show mixed with a little bit of alien technology. That's what this is going to allow you to do. You're going to be solving a puzzle that now introduces theme into what you're solving for. It has even more of these storyboard cards, and those storyboard cards are going to come with their own aesthetic and scene with tokens that get placed down on them. And as you solve them, those will go to completing that third script objective, which now becomes a hardcore win condition. So, there you have it. That is Roll Camera. Hopefully you've enjoyed this unboxing video. And now it's time for me to go ahead and, well, I think start filming B-roll and finish telling this story. Oh, by the way, they do make it to the moon. Turns out there's not a lot of flowers in space, except for the one that he brought along. The gift that Pig gave to Hedgehog. Which ends up saving the day, honestly. The sheep betrayed him, crash-landed the ship on the face of the moon, and the flower was edible, but also highly resilient to the atmosphere, and so it grows, blooms, blossoms, and they grow up, happy, old, and surrounded by flowers and stars, with no daylight, only darkness. I'll see you next time. Thank you.